My ignorant parents preferred my adopted sister over me, so 10 years later, I abandoned them. I packed everything I owned into my 2004 Honda Civic, blocked their numbers, and moved 3 states away for college. I thought that chapter of my life was finally closed, but last month my sister found me on LinkedIn. She sent this long message about how mom and dad were struggling financially and really needed to talk to me. Said they'd changed, that they understood what they'd done wrong, and felt terrible about how they treated me growing up. I stared at that message for 20 minutes before deleting it. She didn't stop though. Every few days, another message. Then she found my Instagram, then my work email. Finally, after 2 weeks of this, I agreed to meet them for lunch at a chain restaurant halfway between our cities. I specifically chose a public place because I didn't trust them not to cause a scene. They showed up 15 minutes early, which surprised me. I watched them through the window, sitting at the table looking nervous. Mom kept checking her phone. Dad was fidgeting with his napkin. When I walked in, Mom immediately burst into tears. She stood up and tried to hug me, but I stepped back and just gestured to my chair. We all sat down in this awkward silence. The waitress came over and I ordered water. Just water. I wasn't planning to stay long. Dad cleared his throat and started this whole speech about how they'd been terrible parents to me. How they realized they'd always favored Stephanie, my adopted sister, and it wasn't fair. How they'd spent years in therapy working through their issues. Mom kept nodding and dabbing her eyes with tissues. I just sat there listening, not saying anything. After about 10 minutes of this, I finally asked them what they actually wanted. The crying stopped pretty quickly after that. Turns out Stephanie had racked up $60,000 in credit card debt over the past 3 years, trying to become a lifestyle influencer. She'd bought expensive cameras, lighting equipment, designer clothes for photos, and even paid for a professional website. The blog never took off. She had maybe 300 followers. Mom explained that they'd already emptied their retirement account, all $45,000 of it, trying to help her pay off the debt. But it wasn't enough. Now they were drowning and facing the possibility of losing their house. They needed $20,000 from me. My sister, who was sitting there the whole time looking at her phone, finally looked up and said it was the least I could do as family, that they'd raised me and given me opportunities, and now it was my turn to help. I almost laughed. Instead, I pulled out my checkbook from my purse. All 3 of them leaned forward, and I watched my sister's eyes literally light up. She even smiled at me for the first time in 10 years. I took